have wonderful conversations. This afternoon, why this topic is important is because we need to balance things in life. The Bible talks about moderation and temperance. Moderate use of even that which is good. So that's why this afternoon we're discussing balancing career success and personal life, the God factor. This is just one of the mentorship sessions. So to speak to us this afternoon, we're having Dr. Okonkwo Amarachi. Let's appreciate her. Dr. Okonkwo Amarachi is an alumnus of School of Law and Security Studies. She is someone who is very passionate about human rights, health, and medical law. So we are inviting you to come on stage and also give us your presentation on the topic again, balancing career success and personal life with God factor. And please, I hope you have your pen, your paper to jot some things down because you'll be amazed.
Hi, good evening everyone. So when I received the invitation, I was wondering why they had asked me to come because I'm still figuring out life. In fact, I still spent a few minutes with Prof. Olariwaju trying to fashion out my life. But be that as it may, we will share from my experience. So the first person who will speak would be our alumnus, Isaac, or Shaw. He'll come and pronounce his name. So please cheer for him as he comes to speak to us.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Professor Olariwaju, good afternoon, sir. It's actually a pleasure of mine to be here before you. But let's bring it back to our children. It's a dream of every parent to have the awards go and at the point in time, they see them do well. And they give back to society in ways they can, or means they can. And I'm so glad that I'm here for this afternoon and to talk to my fellow friends, generally about life and law, and it's an opportunity at all. Don't mind that I want to still go. I visited my brother on this. So, my name is Isaac Amarachi. I'm a graduate of this institution, and I was in 2013 set. And Babcock shaped me. My passion of Babcock is a bit different from what my friends or my colleagues had. It's a bit different. And probably if I get, you asked me the other time that if I can get my nickname, is this a my generation, sir? Is this a my generation? Because Prof. Wabelo gave me that name. And call the second generation when they are very hard to do. So for my friends, my former senior, Dr. Yakiri, it's first year, sir. I'm very grateful for the honor. And to my doctors and lecturers in the building, thank you for having me today. So let's go to because I have limited time. And really, I prefer the one-on-one chat, okay? Group chat, maybe I'm driving, I'm having a chat. It is easier for me that way than to stand in the midst of, beyond minds, brilliant minds, and talk about my experience. So I'll try to do a bit of justice to it. I came into Babcock as a young guy trying to figure out what to do in life. So in our first presentation day, on the first day we had on the main campus, we had a paper and a pen. And we had to write out your plan for the next 10 years. Mind you, when you get to Babcock, you have a graduation date set already, right? So it's quite easy. So you know the first 5 years is Babcock, right? So after Babcock, NYSC, law school, 7 years is done. And for some of us, you want to get married at a certain age, you want to have a business at a certain age, and lo and behold, 2023 was the 10-year mark for me, because that was 2013, right? And 2023, I told myself I would have a law firm, and I told myself I was about to set up things in life, going for me. And 2023, lo and behold, I had all these things. So most of them came late, but by 2023, this little bag I wrote 10 years ago from the auditorium, one auditorium on the main campus. I will give you my card, I will give you my, definitely, that's what I will give you the class. And yes, please big shout out to my big homie, Professor She's also one of the people that played a key role in my stay and success in Babcock. So this is the funny thing. I know most of you are always wild when people come up here and tell you about their academic qualifications. I have them. Trust me. I'm chartered in so many areas. But whenever I come on stage to talk to people, I don't like talking about what I've achieved. Because to me, it's fine, it's good. Academics is fantastic, it's good, because without this basic academics, you get into some rules. You can actually ask questions from some people. We live in a society whereby people want to size you up by what they think you know. But first of all, what you look like. Okay? I made it a personal mission of mine when I left Babcock that on my Mondays, it's so funny, and my dad and mom really don't like it. But I made a personal decision to myself that I want to rest on Mondays when I'm going to work. It sounds crazy. Mondays is the day where everybody goes to Boston and goes for Lagos or stay. But I told myself, I want to actually develop myself to a stage whereby on Mondays I like to rest. But it's a lie. When I get a brief on a Monday morning, come and take this Monday very nice. I'm awful. So there's no rest to trust me, but I could actually afford that for myself because I channeled my mind in ways that just ordinary minds won't really comprehend. My Babcock days was blessed with financial difficulties, lots of it. I had rich friends who couldn't actually come to my aid. I don't believe it, and the point is that once you in life, no one has the responsibility to help you or to do you anything wrong. But once I did a little amount is extended towards you as a favor or throughout a kind gesture, please take it with good faith. And don't ever blame anyone for any of your mistakes or any of your doings or anything that happens to you in life. Don't blame anyone, because by blaming someone for your misfortunes, you're just taking more people yourself to fall into, because the act of people blaming anyone for your own misfortunes gives you a better mind to work on yourself and prepare for yourself. So when I finished from Babcock in 2013, sorry. And 2 years before I finished 311, there was no clear end man. I was not really sure I was going to finish. What I did was that, because I had backlogs of at least like a semester, almost 2 semesters. I would have granted an extra year, but I filled up through them with my lecturers, I was able to fill up with summers. So when I was going for summer, people were thinking, you're coming for summer. You must be able to do, but who do you tell your stories to? So when you do so many things in life, for some reasons, people think you don't know what you're doing. Or people think maybe you're not. People like to categorize. Okay? People like to categorize, like to put you in a bracket. But you know better what you're doing. You can't really explain your life to everyone. But as long as it makes meaning to you, it makes sense to you, please keep at it. So during my summers, my 211 summers, 311 summers, 411 summers, I was on campus, trying to come out for the lost courses that I missed. And when I was in 511, I think that was when the entire school was going on me. Most especially my lecturers. There was no way to go. And that's why I said this is the place to come back to. This is the place to keep back to. And even though I haven't done anything for Babcock. I haven't done anything for Babcock. But for the outside world, I don't pride myself as doing something massive or something big, but I've done my things. If I get called home today, as a young guy, I'm just 24. If I get called home today, I'll rest in peace, because I know what life has given me. I've done my bit to give back. So I had to reach out to, I'm not calling now, office, because the news was going around school. I was telling some of my students also, some of my classmates, I was saying, man, it's good to know, it's good for you to know that Frida, even though she's now in Canada, we are best of friends. And that was one lady, one of my friends of mine that helped me in school, and I couldn't repay her. She asked me to go to the school authority, student department, what's the name now?
Student support.
Student services.
Student support.
Student support services. Okay. And that's from that the entire school. They are not spending on the PA system. That's why we say, please leave the school, please be premises within 1 hour, because blah, 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 blah. You know, I was that kind of guy. Happy school, when you used to do your photocopies and stuff, I was at faculty building. I was called upon that I'm going to be debtor as a young guy. This is not to get you, right? Just make you demoralize, make you feel, no, for my friends, if things don't actually like that way, makes you demoralized, makes you feel less of yourself, or if it makes you to focus in life, then maybe you don't really have a focus to begin with, or maybe you don't really have a plan for your own self. But things like this, when a friend of mine did that to me when we were in school, I finally graduated. Two of my lecturers, they contributed. One of them said here. It's because I think they had to start meeting there. I got to know this way after. They had to start meeting where they had to discuss how much you contribute for this chat, just finish and let's anymore. And they all contributed heavily. My final year school began, and I was going to actually do school. So now, that friend of mine that embarrassed me, that I went to the authority, she had her first child, and she was going through her issue. I was a bit okay there. I just said to her, "Frida, how are you doing now?" She said, "I'm good. I have my name ceremony." Guess what? With my fancy so-called bit of lifestyle, I went to her house. I arranged chairs, served food for her guests to eat and dine. Bought it for her child every single day. Till date, I maintain the friendship because without her, at a particular point in my life, I wouldn't be where I am today. So for every single step, the 100 level, we meet friends, 200 level, we meet friends, 300 level. NYSC, law school, there are people, there's certain people that come into your life that, push you a bit, or how can I say? There's this word, not just ahead, a bit, so actually maybe get to the next level, or, do things that you think you can actually do. Every single one on this journey, I've had different stories. And me personally, for me, I don't have the heart to it. I don't have space in my heart to hate anyone, or to bear grudge, or to, but what has given me through life, I'll talk about my Babcock life now, what has given me through Babcock was the ability, my teachers, they call it teachers, they don't call it lecturers. In my own time, I don't know if it has changed. One of the key lessons my teachers there instilled in me then was humility. After the words of Babcock, there are people out there. He's the president of one of the top. I think it's time to talk to you now. I know, I can. They are not dragging your body now. But these people, they come into, most of them are getting lesser pay than what they work outside, but they come here, they come down to our level, talk to us as their children, instill in us knowledge. And some students don't really, I study their lifestyle. I don't look at, in my class of 7. I don't like to talk about this, my class of 7. Well, top 10, I don't like to say top 5 because I went way back when I was having my issue back to back. My class of 7, I was not top 10, but some of our lecturers, they just have their some proof points that really good. But some of us, we don't really look at who lecturers actually favor us or who lecturers. Not favor in that manner, but sometimes lecturers will have someone in real life. Okay, you might not be the brightest student, they might see something in you that they feel they need to grow. They might see something in you that they feel is of interest to them and they need to actually nurture you. Some might just be academic skills, okay? While some might just be your lifestyle. But when we were teaching, I was looking at the lifestyle, I was looking at the life. Basically, I had my certificate down back then. I had possible did us give methods in every level. And constitutional law also. Then this is the master name, administrative law. My commercial personal was commercial law, commercial transaction. And I think, do you remember that in your course I had a name? I had a name in your course. I was very into but I never allowed my content when I was in school to weigh me down. After school, when I had the time to actually go after certification, I went after exam, got certified. I'll be very, very soon. I went after somewhere, see fractionals, I backed down. I went after IGR, I backed down. I could do some of the things my friends did when I was school, administration because of the funds. And now the what you guys have with chartered bankers now, the one prof is bringing to the table, that you guys are just thinking it's just a piece of cake, trust me. When you get out there, it's a big deal. Because Babcock offers a lot of opportunities that my friends, took advantage of. I couldn't. But when I had my own to change, I went after them outside school and I did them and I got them for myself. So after, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So now, because of this story of the side of the business, I want to go to business also that actually, makes me happy generally. When I was in school, my financial rules also contributed to the fact that I made examination, I made a civil examination. Maybe that was still speaking to days. I told myself that I won't sleep hungry ever again, not in school and not anywhere else. I had no fire in my pocket, so I went to the very market. I got myself Indomie and sardine. So it's not allowed, I don't think it's allowed anymore though. So trade to my fellow students. Whenever you're hungry, I give you Indomie and sardine, you give me back change, I eat out of it, I restore and do this and that, and I sustain myself. And I found out that another way to get into the heart of people, to reach out to people is through food. So I started a food outlet in 2022. I did that for sport. It was a tiny spot there, but it didn't really go down well. So I went back, did my thing, did an amala joint, which became a very big sensation. And we have a couple of branches in Lagos, now, and we did our campus opened at the front of the year. And next month, also aside from my business, I got staff. I'm a full-time lawyer. I'm a part-time friend. One of the things Tosa mentioned, she keeps calling me Amala. Don't mind Tosa, actually. Point is, one of the things you guys should learn from each other, and the reason why you guys should be good to each other is that when we were in school, I was everyone's friend. I don't have any group of friends that I really work with. I'm kind to everyone, I'm nice to everyone. And it's a promise. You remember your friend? What's his name? He's an Irish guy. He's always slim. He's not David. He's not David. I can't say. No, he's not. He works with Mr. Promise, but actually they just belong. He walked past the hospital one day, the faculty one day, and he looked at me. He said, "This is a serious boy. If you make it through school, it's God's grace." I looked at him. I smiled. It's not his fault, okay? Because I don't take things too serious in life, because life is fleeting, okay? Things you acquire in life, your money, your wealth, everything is fleeting. Whatever you are doing, God has given it to you. That's what Babcock taught me. I came to Babcock with nothing. I stopped through school. I'm now outside doing a bit for myself. And everything I tell my family, can marry now with 2 kids. Okay, married with 2 kids. And everything I teach my kids, I teach, even though they're tiny, even though they're tiny, my wife will just see, even anything happens to me today. Something about life is I've achieved this I can in life. I can't touch all lives, but as long as God keeps me alive, the little I can touch past time, I do. And Fosa then was a figure. Fosa had a head start in life, okay? She's doing the entertainment clothing from Babcock days, okay? But after school, people like small big boys, big girls, yeah? They want to act as if they are where they're not. But I'm not like I'm true to myself. Myself, I'm in Academy, you remember Academy? Mama, we preached 20 cities of our pastoral cities. We walked from Allen Avenue in Ikeja. We walked down the line, entire like some cities to companies, law firms, higher. But none of them came true. I can't do that. Okay? I know you're doing your own thing. Your law practice, not your practice. What can I do? You just, yes, I want to work, I want to learn. I'm eager to learn. But nobody's willing to take on. Because I passed from law school. When I was in law school, it was then what was the name of our GG then? They brought it from Lagos, briefly, to come and torture us. I think that was the time the law school had the worst result. I thought I was going to finish with a minimum of 2-1. Because we saw the exam, we did practice. We saw the past questions, we practiced to the time. When the exam was coming, we saw it because we attended all lectures. When we saw the past question, we just find it. You know, it's singing, and she sing it so. That kind of song in an example, you know, say you have done something. It was that good when the result came out. The person I tried the pass. He said, please thank your staff. There were so many people actually failed, so many people received. But I'm just trying to tell you that what you do is, okay, it's not a determining factor of what you're going to be in life. You would take a good look at myself. I have a couple of friends that have massive results in this. I'm not saying this to make anyone of you not focus on your studies, but in addition to pushing your studies, focus on your personal self too, your growth, your relationship with people. You can have a fantastic study if you don't have a relationship with people, the results are good as nothing. They will recognize you in rooms, okay? They will call you, they will read your CVs. They will read your CVs. Brilliant. You will talk and you go your way. But you that you have maybe an escape from law school with a good personality, to the time you came, you will roll with them, you will talk to them. And they want to, and finding that because before you left school with a pass or a very ridiculous grade, that's what you should be able to solve when you're done with school. As you know, law is a continuous learning. You learn from school, you learn from the four walls, and you learn from society also. If I stopped to say, because I had a pass in law school, let me just stay there. No. I have to pursue. And whenever I see any opportunity, certifications to do, and seminars to attend, I jump at it. When I can afford it, I do it and I add more knowledge. I'm the kind of person that what I see, what I hear, sticks with me. I can talk from experiences of what I've seen and what I've heard. But I'm the kind of guy that, if it's a give it to me, because I read a lot of Babcock. We did a lot of overnight. When you give me books to read, if it's not a good proof, that I should study on, I don't feel interested. But sometimes you have to push yourself to do it, because the knowledge can never stop. So first I gave me an start, and said, whenever I have any job, any criminal job, because I had a very good experience in criminal law. Aside from that, I had the best teachers. Yeah, teaching criminal law, I had the opportunity of serving at People Council in Owerri. That's why some people shouldn't work your NYSCs. That's why sometimes when you come to schools like this, in the school anthem, spiritual Babcock is it, right? So many things infused in that song. When my life, I'm a bundle of grace. Let me put that. So I didn't work my NYSC for the first time. So I told my friend, don't work NYSC for me, let me just go here, wherever I want to go. So I landed in Owerri, Legal Council. Everybody feel that they're less interested in what they're doing. But when the lecturer at the rest of the lawyers saw me, that this guy is really eager to actually learn, the truth is not me. I know when you have rape cases, kidnapping cases, murder cases, and armed robbery. That's what we do. A lot of Owerri, that's the council. Pro bono services. So I take a lot of courts. I made from a lot of judges. As I was very sure, so whenever I get to court, I raise up my hand. Because in the most state court, the court, they rise by 2 o'clock, and they call average seniority. I'm the youngest person I'm calling now. So when they call your cases to about 4 or 5 judges, 4 or 5 players, and they're tired, they rise. So when I know they're wrapping up, I just lift up my hand. And the power back, the judge will burst into laughter and call me. So what the judges saw in me was my courage, was my resilience, that okay, fine. What's the worst thing you told me? No, right? So you can say your mindset to say, what's the worst thing you told me? The worst thing you want to tell me is no. Right? And what's the best thing? A yes. And once you keep getting no back to back, and you get a few years you get to actually obtain the rules and put you in a place where you want to be in life. So naturally speaking, sir, also, I don't know if this counts for anything. I'm also a partner in my law. I started my own law firm in 2018, but I found out that I'm better with people. I'm better with partnership. I like working with people because I can't be an island, okay, of knowledge. I'm working with people, I like working with people that's better than me, that's better than me, and I acknowledge it to them. If Kusa was here, I would have actually told you to our face. What you guys understand is that when you see someone better than you, your friend is better than you, acknowledge them. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. It's you see something in them that you admire and you appreciate. And when the time comes, they get to talk about you also because are you telling them what they are to you? They themselves that see something else in you that you don't see yourself. So anybody that gets to talk about myself and that, even though we're partners now, litigation-wise and stuff like that, I get time to talk about how she could. She's the kind of person when she graduated from school, she looked back at her colleagues who is willing to come up with me, and she has an outstretched hand. And people that thank the Lord are also good now. They are big now, also in their own way, even though we're very few. The only way I can know is to identity and myself. Others live out of the country. Others is in Canada now. I think he must be a professor. Black Jadeli can really know. And yet, the version of it, I had 7 classmates when I was in Babcock. I know everyone till date, but their son is on their first name. All of them. So whenever you see calling my friends, I'm calling by their full names. And people said yesterday, we lost already in Babcock. I was one of those people that went to the family to, pay condolence visit to the family. So that's why I said, life. When I was in school, so that was the all. It was life of the chapel. Whenever we have any service, so in school, Blackboard is not the place, but now he's going to rest with the Lord. So I was remembered for his good deeds and for sacrifices. So, but for me, I told KG, where's KG? Coach okay. I told KG that when I met some of the students at the conference, Eastern conference, I told them that if I had the opportunity to actually come to people myself, say how many of our students here have financial issues in school. I don't have coming down here to come and play on your behalf and even contribute to myself, because for you to actually have the courage to go to people that please I'm in need. You're not asking for food, you're not asking for money to live a life, you're asking for money to actually have the basic rights of schooling. We know Babcock is not one of the easiest places to be. Okay, when it comes to the financial aspect of it, but you are your friend's keepers. You are the next one to teach your neighbor, in which you can actually help. And the next, I'm not saying you help because you want to be helped, okay? Not because you have the capacity to help. Because if you have the mentality that if I help you help in the future, then you have the mentality that when this person helps you back in the future, you become enemies, which is not the right mentality. Right now, I can't remember my friends, whenever I in school, that I feel front towards or I feel bad towards. No. And now what I do for my restaurants is that this is the spiritual aspect of it. Having academic degrees without the spiritual background is nothing, trust me. It's going to get you as far as you can go, but can't get you further than what you want to be. What I do in my restaurants is that I look for, I didn't even look for another ask. Give me where I can actually give food to, because on my birthdays, instead of me doing spending my small money on inviting friends, I do food and I give it out to less privileged. So I now someone has been an orphanage home, and ever since then I take my orphanage to my restaurant. We give them breakfast and dinner, and we did that for over a year now. And I told God, see, I'm doing my love business. Thank you. I'm doing my love business full time. Studying hard every single day. Now we meet with your so-called daily statistics. People that you guys invite to, and when you see you shout, you see them on daily basis, we are like, but I told my God that, see, this is a food business which I do for the fun of it. I tell people that my food business is my side also. Law is my calling. If you take out my law degree, because my law degree has so many things tied to it. It has so many things tied to it, my personality, my being, my growth, my everything. That's why I don't joke with anything law related. And when I see those students, I'm always quick to actually tap them up. What about how you doing? How is life treating you? How are you doing in life? Whatever challenges you have as a law student, someone has been down the road. And someone can actually, I think that's why the faculty came up with this initiative. Talk to people that have been ahead of you. I know the story you've been hearing, I've been on that. Can you start? The topic this morning, I'm not talking about my degrees. I'm not talking about things that are bad, like that. I've been talking about the core life experience I faced. And how God factor and human factor, people that have in their lives, along their lives, has actually helped me. And also, by the glory of God, I've been a member of the Great Club for over 2 years now. So when I talk about the Great Club, they look at me like, how did you get there? How? I look at them and the bundle of grace. I don't stress if I get anything. The stress that I had in my life was a battle. And I made a covenant with God that was very battle. There used to be a fellowship center right in front of the gate. I live the Chicago very in the morning on Sundays. After my final year, I'm going to just a few stories. This is just one story. My final year, when I was going through financial issues, before I came to my lecturers, then Pastor Laure was the university pastor, and Pastor, they were two then. Pastor Chewole, nothing for me that I never going to make campus. I just said, listen, this is video. Guys, listen. I met them on campus, working, and I told them, please pray for me. I don't have an extra year. I told them I had financial problems. I said, please pray for me. I don't have an extra year. He just said a simple word. Just pray. Let my hand and pray. Pastor Joel is so. Just walk a bit, make few meters, and then Pastor Olare, sir, please pray for me. I don't have an extra year. He held my hand and pray for me. And that was that. So every morning when I wake up in the morning, I go to the arts fellowship, I clear the grass, sweep the floor, clean the chairs, go back to the hostel to dress up and attend the service. I'm not doing it because I want to be doing it. I did it because I have a relationship with God. I'm doing it because I have a set goal I have to get to. I know life will be fair at me. You know, things will come easy at me, or things will come easy for me. But I made a promise to my God. This is where I'm doing it now. And if I can ask you to Babcock of all of us, life will be a bit easy. And no I'm doing life has been fair to me. So when processing was to ask me, where are you in life? You don't have a good place in life. Because telling about I just have to give you the stories, just for you to have like a context of what the life has been about. When you meet me in the normal day outside, you probably meet me in my short knicker and my t-shirt. If I'm not going to go to my suits and my all attire, you see me outside. If you don't see me in my car, you see me as a regular person doing his own thing in life. Because I don't actually mean to all these things, but I learned a lot from the people that have put in my life, right from my level in Babcock. My teachers, the impact they had in my life, and the key word is my mom said to me in my 400 level. 400 level semester, and again 500 level first semester. When your teachers actually say positive to your life, they're not saying it because they feel good saying it. They're saying it because they see what you don't see, and they can actually business with you. And if you going far or farther in that direction, I also imagine so. So I don't really know what to say extra. But I'm looking forward to maybe my next outing here, I'm doing full law thing. You see me my law brilliance. You see me splitting law jargons. These are the things I'm moved by. But for now, I'm just here to share my story with you guys now. See, Babcock is a place whereby it gives you platform to be. It's a fair platform of life. Trust me. I'm not saying your friends will be guaranteed for life, but you have to build relationship. They might not make you in life, but the relationship you develop here says a lot when you get out there. So thank you very much, everyone. And I'm making a pledge that whenever Babcock makes me financially, physically, whichever way it is, I'll definitely make myself available. And I was out in school, and school is part of my life, and I'm part of the school also. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Isaac. Before he steps out, I don't know if anybody wanted to ask him anything. Okay.
It can be not related to.
Okay, I don't think we have any reactions to that. Okay.
No, it's a very, you are the one guy getting about the name, right? So when you come to, like I was saying, when you're Babcock, you get plenty of things. Intuition is one of it. Thinking outside the box is one of it. Whatever you do. I like to make reference to what I say. I'll talk about Hola, entertainment. Even though you have the big firms in Nigeria doing entertainment, yeah? But she, at the very end, she can't do it to herself and she called it entertainment. And she pursued it vigorously. And now she's doing fantastically well over the world. An entertainment business. So now, I look at myself like, if I want to do a business, something that will actually use people, I will do things twice, okay? Before you come in and die. What does the advisory mean to you? It means old age, it means experience, it means good food, local food, right? And when you come in and eat that food, you taste the same thing, and you think with experience that, you're Nigerian, badass. But when everybody sees the tiny man telling you you're Nigerian, you? Oh, you're surprised. I mean, when we talk about my business, what's there, they don't know. I might go to regular car washing that. I'm washing my car. You see grown men, big men talking about restaurants and talking about their passion. If it's something negative, I come in. If it's positive, I let them go with experience. I let them interject. Sure you get. And yeah. Yes. And also it's one of my long dream that if the school permits me, it's possible, I'd like to have a lunch with my lecturers, my teachers. Maybe once a month or once in 2 months. I'll be the one to get up all the food. At the top, we dine if friends can come around to do that often, I don't mind. We'll buy it. So is that? I have practice. Yeah, show and I'm for now. Sorry. What do you think? How much are you coming? That's very good to the house.
Alright, I want to say thank you to Mr. Isaac for sparing his time to have a conversation with us. I feel like we've had a lot of conversations and there may be no need for me to speak. And every time I come back to Babcock and I interact with my lecturers, I'm reminded that you actually do get the best from here in Babcock. I've been to a public university and my experience, I've had the opportunity and the privilege to be able to compare experiences. And I'll say to you that I'm not sure you understand the privileges and the benefits that you've gotten from this faculty. He said something and that resonated with me. I remember when we were in Babcock and we had a classmate who was struggling with fees. Our lecturers contributed money. That day, I went to Babcock's office to have a conversation. We're just coming out of class and we stopped by his office and I mentioned to him that we had a student who was financially challenged. And he said to me, oh, we'll employ him when he graduates. I said, no, sir, he needs money to pay his fees to graduate so that you can then consider employing him. And he said, oh, really? And that was how the faculty supported him. Today, that classmate is doing so well. He's doing really, really, really well. God changes people's stories. That was one of the things I wanted to emphasize today. For the Sabbath school lesson study that you've been studying, you realize that now we're looking a bit more at the book of Joshua. And it's made me take time to look at the story of Joshua. If you go to Joshua 1, verse 1, you will remember that the Bible refers to Joshua as Moses' aide. He was Moses' assistant. But in that same chapter, Joshua himself also became a master when his master fell asleep. What does that tell you? You will never remain students forever. And your future, the other day I was thinking and I said, the law school graduates over 6,000 lawyers every year. But it's still from the same profession that we fill the gaps where we need to elevate people to become judges. It's still from the same profession that we reach into and appoint or elevate our SANs. It's still from the same profession that we have nominate and appoint attorney generals. It tells you that the future is bright. The moment you have equipped yourself with what you need, the future is bright. The future is bright for everybody. I was taking a training this week and I was telling Prof about it. A training on building financial models. You would not believe who my teacher was. In fact, the boy had seen me and said, you look familiar. I said, you're not a lawyer. I don't know where we possibly have met. Then he said, oh, maybe Babcock. I said, what course? He mentioned maybe accounting or something. I said, well, I was on the mini campus, so I didn't do accounting. He mentioned a few law students, and we knew those people. Then he said, no. This recognition seems stronger than a casual meeting in Babcock. And then I realized that we went to the same secondary school, and we also went to the same university, Babcock. He was my junior in high school. but left university before me. That's our facilitator. That's the person teaching us. He's teaching us financial modeling, and everybody is running around and saying, sir. He tells you that the future is bright. Even for you that are still young and figuring out life. When he told us that there was another level, we can now enroll for his financial modeling discount, and that per person is 900 and something thousand, we said, hey! Somebody who was a student yesterday is now a master today. I want you to live here certain that the future is bright. You must have that conviction in your heart. And when you have that conviction, my people say something, they say, onye kwere chia ekwere, meaning once you agree, your God agrees alongside with you. Even somewhere in Numbers, the Bible says, I will do unto you the very thing I hear you say. If words are not powerful, go back and read Numbers. Balak, a hidden king, came and took Balaam and said, come, curse the children of Israel for me. And Balaam will say, oh, I cannot curse. But he wanted to curse, but God was holding him back from cursing. And each time he opened his mouth, he pronounced blessings. When you speak over your own life, it's powerful. But it doesn't end in speaking over your life. You must then put in the work. When this guy, the guy who was teaching us financial modeling this week, he began to tell us a bit of his story. And as he was speaking, somebody said to him, if after you had made all this preparation and opportunity did not come, what would you have done? And the boy said emphatically, they are calling him a boy, he's a young man. He said emphatically that it is not possible. That there is no way you would prepare and not succeed. And when he said it, it resonated with me. Why? If you're doing something diligently, even in a place as small as Babcock, I'm telling you that it will open doors for you. When I was in Babcock, everybody knew I was interested in reproductive health law. Everybody. So when I did my master's, I did it in reproductive health law. When I was going for my PhD, I was also interested in reproductive health law. I took leave of absence without pay. And I was ready to go to Port Harcourt. I didn't have money. Even I remember that then Professor Larry was doing, and he said, I'm Marashi. They don't read book on empty stomach. But I just said I needed to leave this environment and go somewhere else. Out of the blue, I don't know if Professor Dunake remembers, she connected me with a couple that had a baby through surrogacy, and they needed a lawyer to help them sort through the documents so that they could take the child outside the country. She gave them my number, they called me. When they called me, I was like, I'm leaving Lagos, I can't do this thing in Lagos. But I also remember, I didn't take family law, but I also remembered vaguely that there was a time that she was teaching family law class, I would occasionally go, and she said something like, it's difficult to get an adoption order in Lagos. You can get a guardianship order, but it's difficult to get an adoption order. So I told the family that, I'm leaving Lagos, so I may not be able to do this. But the second part, I told them, okay, I'll do it, but I won't do it in Lagos. And they agreed. That single referral that she made, it gave me more than 5 times my Babcock salary at the time. Me that was going to school, that had no hope, I had money. When I got that money, it carried me for a long time. When I was working, there were monies that I couldn't give people and say, oh, take for free. This one, somebody called me and said, oh, my child has not paid school fees. I gave the person and I said, take it for free, I'm dashing you. While I was still there, somebody else called me and said, I need somebody to do research and review some CBM policies and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, I will do it. He said, I'll pay you the money, but I'll pay it in 5 installments. I'll pay it monthly like a salary. And I said, okay, this looks like salary, and it's going to help me. That's how I also got that one. All of these things helped me. I wasn't working. For almost a year, I wasn't working, but I was getting money. And God also sent help. Somebody said, oh, come and stay in my house. So feeding was sorted, accommodation was sorted, so many things. I'm making is, the point said something. He said, opportunities is a constant. In formulas, those who are mathematicians, they have like a constant, whatever. So opportunity is a constant. It would always exist. What doesn't exist is preparation. And many times we are not prepared. This boy who taught us modeling said to us that every day for his life, consecutively, there was no day he went to bed without first modeling. This thing that they call financial modeling, I think you can just Google it, it's just something peculiar to finance people. But he honed his skills so much that he now teaches a course at the Lagos Business School. In fact, he designed their curriculum. This boy went to Babcock. He designed their curriculum. He does trainings at FIRS. He does trainings across the country. He didn't need to know anybody. One time, one of my bosses had a meeting and they told him to come and speak on something, something around reproductive health law. He asked me to do the research. I did the research, sent it to him. We had the meeting, he spoke. I didn't feel like he had done justice to the topic. So he then said, I don't know if Amarachi has any contribution. And I said, yes, I do. And when I spoke, now, the thing with people mistaking intelligence for hard work, you can be really smart and not go very far because you haven't put in the work. Now, the thing with hard work is that because I am interested in, for instance, reproductive health law, it means that if I have 100 hours to study, I'm devoting 80 hours to it. And because I am devoting more time than the average person, when I talk about it, I would sound like I am very intelligent. But the difference is that because I am interested in it, I have thrown myself into it. So I know it better than another intelligent person. Because that person is focusing on something else that is important to them. That's how expertise is born. So when I spoke about it, somebody on the call was so impressed, called me, and we began to just talk. Much later, in the Netherlands, there was a surrogacy matter. Somebody in Nigeria had taken a child to the Netherlands, and they needed somebody to advise them on the Nigerian law on the subject. Who did she call? She referred me. Now, I'm not one of the smartest people on earth, right? But I had devoted considerable time to that. And because I had, it meant that things that other people did not know, I now knew it. That was the difference. Another example I want to give you is, don't be afraid to take on new challenges. After I was done with my program and I was really trying to hustle, I found myself in a financial institution. All my life, when they when people ask you, what do you want to do? And you say, well, I want to do litigation, I want to do this. I have never said anything corporate commercial. It's not my strength. I don't like it. I don't do it. And I tried to escape it, but somehow that was where I landed. I'm telling you that there is nothing you put your mind to that you cannot learn. That thing does not exist. The problem is, many times we already have predefined preferences. So you say, okay, no, I'm an arts person, I'm not interested in sciences. So you're not giving it attention. I'm telling you that I learned corporate and commercial law. I learned finance. I now do infrastructure finance and private finance. And every time I even talk about it, I'm like, I'm not sure anybody that is talking about it because me, I learned it on the job. So when they tell me to interview somebody for something or for a role, and the person doesn't have the experience, once the person has the right attitude, I am always willing to take on the person because I say that, what can anybody not learn? My boss told me that he learned electricity law, energy law, at almost 65 years. Now he's about 72. There's nothing you cannot learn. I also want to say to you that explore law's intersection with other things. There was a lawyer that graduated from here. On LinkedIn, she announced that she had written her CFA. I think CFA is Chartered Financial Analyst. She has done her CFA. We now have lawyers talking about tech. Learn a non-core legal skill that is relevant for your legal knowledge. There was an opening sometime for somebody to head an organization, and they didn't pick a lawyer. because they feel like lawyers are very narrow. All you're concerned about is the law. But some other person knows project management. They know different intersection of how one area intersects with another that is not even their core area. So you see a technical guy who is a financial modeler. But lawyers simply say, I'm not interested in numbers. You must choose to learn something new. Tell yourself that every quarter, I must learn something new. Every time I go for a conference, I always pay attention to the slides, the presentation. And I see that non-lawyers are able to do better slides. Something more professional, something more eye-catching than lawyers. Lawyers always have excuses. But now you must, if you would survive in the new world, you must learn other skills that are not just core legal skills. Let me tell you, where I work, non-lawyers draft agreements. Non-lawyers draft 100-page agreement. They know how to. There are so many platforms that they use to generate templates today. They will generate the templates and then they will negotiate those contracts. Non-lawyers. The only thing that non-lawyers are not doing for themselves is litigation. I was on a call, and the person that the client hired was not a lawyer. She was a climate finance person. And this woman was negotiating legal documents. While I was on that call, I quickly had to Google her. Because she was good. She was not a lawyer. When I did this CIPP, Privacy Professionals exam for the EU, the person who taught me was not a lawyer. I took the course for 2 weeks. The person that taught me was not a lawyer. All of these things, non-lawyers are beginning to enter into areas that we formerly thought were reserved for lawyers alone. Shebi CAC, they have hijacked it. People can sit in the comfort of their rooms and do courses registration, file annual returns, do post-incorporation returns. And so we're no longer safeguarding. So the point I'm making is acquire skills that intersect with your legal skills. You must, as a lawyer, you must know how to read a financial report. You must know how to read financial documents. You must know that is if you're interested in something in finance. Because even if you're not interested in finance, if you're a company secretary, you must understand your company's business. And the company runs with data, financial statements. You don't know what EBITDA is. You don't know what, you cannot do any analysis that goes beyond mere advising the company on legal matters. You're shortchanging yourself. So the challenge today is that you must acquire other skills that are not core legal skills. I know many lawyers struggle with Excel. You say, I want to put it on Excel like this, I beg, I won't even understand it. Just put it in Word. You can't survive anymore. You can't survive anymore if you simply remain with your legal skills. Because think about it. When I tell people things, I say to them that law practice is like a cake. Litigation is just one slice of that cake. The law intersects, think of any human endeavor, aviation, health, finance, maritime. Think about it and then think law. The law affects every aspect of it. But the role that they require lawyers to play, if you don't show yourself to be multidisciplinary, right? People would pass you over. They won't get into the decision-making room. That's why every day you get company secretaries say, we are fighting for the board to recognize that we are also a part of the board. No, because you don't act like you understand the business of the company. You act like you're there to take minutes and remind the board what they talked about last time. So nobody gets you involved in the core of the business because you haven't shown yourself to be capable of other things. I'm saying that as young lawyers, begin to ask yourself, what are some of these emerging areas of law? Litigation is good. If you have conviction that that's where you need to be, by all means, go there. But some other people discover that there's this saying, it goes like this, they say that ways lead on to other ways. litigation. And as you just keep working, you realize that there are other roads that will ultimately take you where you want to be. So explore some of these multidisciplinary skills, acquire them. People are always doing webinars, doing seminars, and they are free. Some are virtual, some are free. I met somebody last 2 weeks. The Association of Fertility People in Nigeria, they had a conference, and I had to speak at the conference last week. And I met a young lady that was there. She came all the way from Ebonyi State. And I was asking her, how much did you pay? She said she paid 200,000 for registration. I said, me, I will not pay that kind of money. And she said that she wanted to come and acquire knowledge and also meet people. And that was why she could pass with that money, pay that registration fee, booked her flights to and fro, paid for everything. I'm sure she spent nothing less than 500 to 600K on that trip. What was it for? Knowledge. My friend that wrote CFA, I said, how much? Nearly $1 million. Every time you earn your salary, tell yourself that you're setting something aside for personal development. You must acquire new skills. You must be willing to pass with value to get value in return. Another thing I want to say to you is please network. Please network. If they ask me to recommend somebody for something, Shebi is who I know I will recommend. If I don't know you, I will not recommend you. That is why professional relationships are so important. Some of you say you're quiet, and so you pass through Babcock University, and you're not remarkable. When I say remarkable, I'm saying that make yourselves unforgettable to your lecturers. Your lecturers are in positions of influence. They have relationships. Somebody can just call and say, I need to do things, sir. Please, can you recommend? If you were smart and you were quiet, they're not sure of your capacity apart from writing and passing exams. So they will not recommend you. The person they recommend is the vocal person, the person who is sing. There's no reason you will pass through Babcock. When you even call for a reference letter, good afternoon, sir. My name is Amarachi. What says? 2015, sir. Sir, I was in your class. I was Chabaka's friend. Because the person, they cannot remember you. Yes, sir, I'm tall. I wasn't too tall when I was in Babcock then. But now I'm a bit tall, sir. So I'm fair. So if you see me, sir, you will know me. You are not remarkable. It's easy to forget unremarkable people. How do you make yourself remarkable? Even if it's not just in academics, we have people who are known because of their acts of service. Something you cannot just pass through the university silently. And when you now ask for a reference and the man cannot remember you, so he will just give you a generic letter. What will he say about you that he doesn't know you? But when you were remarkable, the person would use adjectives that are so scary to reference you, and you would at some point need an academic reference. If you're applying for scholarships, if you're applying for masters, even at work sometimes, you require some of these things, and you're going through 5 years and nobody knows you. Nobody knows you. Shebi, why would you be shy? The person in class with you, he came to learn. If he was a lawyer, he wouldn't have come to sit in class with you. So they ask questions, you know it, but you keep quiet. You don't understand something, you don't raise your hand and ask a question. They say the question is stupid. You don't ask a question. You go for conferences and you just walk away. How would somebody know that you have something to give back? I'm saying that you must challenge yourself. Young people are making money these days, and they're making it so easily because of technology. Our parents and people, in the previous generations, they had to struggle twice as hard. We don't even have to struggle as much. Now, the Bible talks about a haughty look. It's a look. You may not necessarily be haughty, you may not necessarily be proud or rude. But it's important that people have a pleasant perception of you. One time, they asked me to interview people for those who would hire. I'm telling you that this girl has no experience relevant to what we're doing. You won't believe why I said I recommended that she should be hired. She was smiling. In the office, everybody used to carry a very straight face. The place was looking. Let the perception of you be positive. You can't say that is how I am. I look proud, but I'm not proud. Shebi is when we talk, I will know you're not proud. But when I look at you from a distance, your demeanor should be such that people have a positive impression of you, a positive perception of who you are. And then integrity is also important. It is so important we cannot overemphasize it. Let people not say about you, he's smart but it's not good with money. That thing can ruin your prospects. Perception, what people think of you. I also want to say that it's important to get mentors. You've been able to identify positive the areas you want to go into. LinkedIn has made things easier. If you want to do a certain thing, at least identify 4 to 5 people who are in that field and who are doing well. And try to study them. Your mentor was not able, he must not know you. One girl was telling me that every day that there are 5 people whose LinkedIn pages she goes to every day. Now when she goes there, she then sits down and thinks about her life. So if people can be your virtual mentors, maybe they share a thought on LinkedIn, it's something that resonates with you. You respond, you comment, you engage. Then gradually you can slide into their DM and say, oh, please, I'm looking for opportunities to do internship, or I'm looking for so role. Can I please work with you? The man has never met you, but he has seen your comments on his post. He feels like he knows you, even though he doesn't know you. That's also something that helps, right? Now, talking about our personal lives, because the goal is balance. Your entire life is not your career. We have families. But even your family is not your entire life. You have friends, you have professional colleagues, and then there's also the spiritual element. So I say to people that ensure that you have an anchor, an emotional anchor, a mental anchor, a spiritual anchor, even a social anchor. I don't know why young people are having depression these days. People are depressed. People have given up on life. You cannot afford to be one of those people. You can't afford to be one of those people. Have an anchor. Have an anchor. Somebody, you know how you have clothes for different purposes, right? You have the dress you wear to church, you have the one you wear to the gym, you have the one you wear for parties. That's what your friends and your network should be like. There are people that you must run to when your career is in crisis. There are people that you run to when your heart is shattered, either because somebody has broken your heart or because you've just faced adversity. You must have those people. There are people you must go to when it looks like things are not making sense spiritually, because the spiritual controls the physical. You must have anchor for everything. If not, you will go mad. One of the things that they used to do, and if you read Nelson Mandela's autobiography, you will realize this. When you're in prison and they want to break your spirit, they keep you in isolation. So you're not interfacing with human beings. You're isolated. That's the easiest way to break somebody's mind. And many of us deliberately put ourselves in isolation. We are with people, we have friends, we have families, but we are in isolation. Things are not going well in your career. There's nobody to call and say, I don't understand what is happening. You're struggling. I had one friend in Babcock. She was only my friend for academic purposes. She was the life of the party. She was a happening day. Once it was time to prepare for tests, quiz, exams, she's spending all her time in my room. Throughout the semester, we're not best of friends though. She will see me and she will hail me, we exchange pleasantries. But the one time you will look for her and you find her in my room or in my corner was when we had an exam or something. So she needed me to be able to support her. She was smart on her own, but she needed light minds Somebody that together they will sit down and burn the midnight oil. Then when it was time for social activities, she also had the people for that one. You must have people, even your friends must be like that. There are friends that are there to help you weather tough situations. You have the ones that are just there for the good times. You should know them and know where each person fits in your life. But you must always have an anchor. There must be somebody you must be able to run to. There must be somebody you should be able to talk to when things are going rough. If you don't have that, you will struggle. You will struggle, I'm telling you. You will struggle. And then there must be somebody that understands your capacity, your dreams, and your visions. Because what it means is that when you forget, or when you begin to doubt yourself, there's somebody that reminds you, somebody that encourages you. You must have that person in your corner. There must be somebody that believes in you so much, that even when you begin to say, I can't do this thing anymore, they'll say, have you seen yourself? Another thing is our self-esteem. And this is why there is usually a lot of peer pressure. Some of us feel like we're not good enough. And I don't know why anybody would let themselves feel like that. If you feel like that, then again, you need an anchor. When I was in Babcock, I had a roommate. Very beautiful girl. One of the most beautiful girls I've ever met. She would dress up for class. Then she would go to the mirror and look at herself. And say, God, I don't look good. And then she said, I'm not going to class today. And she would lie down on her bed. It happened the first time. I kept quiet. It happened again. I kept quiet. She would wake up early. She would dress up. She would do her makeup. Then you know that final look in the mirror. She would look at herself and look at whatever it is that she has that is out of proportion. And say, no, I'm not going to class. And that will be it for the day. She will stay back. And one day I spoke to her. Because I was not seeing what she was seeing. In my eye, what I could see was a very beautiful young lady. So I didn't understand what the struggle was. And so I began to, the first time I encouraged her, I didn't do it. I was saying it because I was genuinely confused. I was trying to see why she didn't think she was pretty. And when I spoke, she carried her book and went to class. Years after we had stopped being roommates, she would say to me that, Amarachi, whenever we are on holidays, I would say, let me quickly do and come back to Babcock. Because when I feel bad about myself, you help me feel better. I didn't even realize that I was doing, I just found it the tutorials that somebody would dress up for class and say, I'm not going again because I don't think I look good. How many of us look good? Why are you saying back in class? Let's go to class and see ourselves. Another boy, he was a 100 level at the time I was teaching in Babcock. And the father came to school. He had failed all his courses except 2. And I started asking him, what's the problem? And he said he didn't think he had good clothes to go to class. These things may sound absurd, but they are people's reality. That was why the young girl was not going to class, 100 level. So he had the hard drive, he had downloaded plenty movies. He would stay in the hostel when his mates were in class and watch movies. How would he pass? And the father came to the faculty and the father was sad. Meanwhile, I had a classmate who, people in class, he was sore because he was sore. People in class were shocked. When they dash him their shirts, the hand will stop here, and the trouser will hang here. And he will still come to class, made first class in Babcock, made first class in law school, got scholarship, went to the UK, went to the US, did his master's, got a job offer in the UK, got another one in Canada, and was torn between which one would I take. Life had gotten better. One day I met him on the main campus and he was greeting all the laborers. I said, how did you know these people? He said, it's me and them they do laborer work. And that once school closes, he goes to meet them. So he knew how much they were paying per day for laborers in Lagos, in Ogun State, everywhere. He worked in cafeteria. Those of us who our parents were able to provide comfort for us, You can't let things like that hold you back. This was the ask question for class, and then you allow it to bother you. You cannot tie yourself to what people will say. Because if you tie yourself to what people will say, you forever make yourself a slave. There will never be a time. Let me tell you what happened to me when I was in Babcock. When I came back to teach, my first class was, they gave me a course on the main campus, ILD. And so I went to class. And when I walked into the class, students were all over. They started saying, is she the teacher? Is she the lecturer? Is she the one? She's the one, no. She's the one, no. She's the one. I knew why they were saying that. Of course, you know I'm small. So when I stood and we finished the class, those students had dug out my history before the class was over. They found my brother miraculously on the main campus. I said, come. Your sister don't reach 21. And I said, she don't reach. Why are you asking? They said, that girl is small though. She's our teacher. So they asked him, how old is she? He said, she's my elder sister. Oh. She's even older than me. He said, he mentioned the number of years I was older than me. So he called me and said, what have you done to your students? They have tried to find out your age. I said, did you tell them? He said, I told them you're older than me with about 5 years. I said, oh! He said, don't worry, that should be ready to know my age first before they will calculate your own. And I found it very funny. But when, again, let me tell you, this conference that I went for, the one, the AFRH one, the one I went for, one of the prominent doctors that owns one of the foremost fertility clinics in Lagos, in fact in Nigeria, he saw me and they were like, I just want to. And I said yes, so I played the game with it. When I was done talking, people came and said to me, your voice is bigger than your body. You can't allow people to define you by what they think of you. You can't allow people to define you by what they think of you. You must be so confident in your abilities because you have spent time building your abilities such that by the time they see the value you bring to the table, they would have no option but to give you room. I like to tell this particular story. When I went to represent a judge at a conference, they didn't know me. So people treated me with some kind of disdain. So when I got there, the judge who was representing the chief judge and who was chairing the session said, I hope you've read and know what it says. I said, yes, ma'am, I do. I even had the paper, the presentation. I had highlighted it with red, yellow, green. So the way I highlighted it, and I was still trying to do last minute review, you would think that this one now struggling. They even began to text him and say, who is this girl that you have sent? He said she's a PhD student. Nobody knew me. While I was still speaking, when it was time to speak, I first started by telling them that the presentation goes like, who would you hold? Everybody echoed the name of the judge. I said, fine. If it goes well, who gets the accolades? They said you. So that helped me set the context and made the place a bit friendlier for me. While I was still speaking, people began to text him and say, oh, this guy is good, this guy is wonderful. Oh, I would have loved to mentor her, but she clearly doesn't need mentorship. Like the accolades were positive. If you decide that you are going to be defined by your physical appearance, you would fall short. Because for every one beautiful person you see, there are 10 other beautiful people. So the standard for beauty or appearance or wealth, none of us can measure up effectively. So what do you focus on? Those things that are more tangible that nobody can take from you. Your kindness, your attitude, your hard work. And God has blessed everybody in this room with intelligence. Everybody. We're just better at different things because we've devoted ourselves to those things. And that thing that you're better at, that should be where you hone your strengths so that you only get better. I just thought that somehow I've been able to encourage somebody. As I wrap up, and I'll wrap up now, I had mentioned earlier that find mentors, even if they are virtual mentors. if you have decided that this is what you want to do, so some of us know what we want to do, like I mentioned earlier. Some of us do not know, right? As we interface with life, we then see what we like, what we are better at, and then we stick to those things and let some other things go. So once you find that thing that you're good at, I have friends who would say, somebody like Rosalie from school, she wanted to do entertainment. Some of us were confused as to what elective we would choose. We visited all the lecturers' offices asking, should I do IP or should I do family law? Should I do this one or should I do that one? I was so confused that. So some of us are confused like that, right? But God makes provision for people like us also. Now the Bible says something. I told you that the Bible says that I will do unto you the very thing I hear you say. That same Bible then tells us that, for we do not know what to say, talking about prayer. So the Holy Spirit maketh intercession for us with groanings that cannot be altered. Jesus saw a man and said, what do you want? The man said, I want to see. God restored his sight. But there were some other people in the Bible that came, and all they just said was, Master, help me, help me, help me, help me. And the Lord also helped them. So, whichever category you fall under, if you already know what you want to do, excellent, beautiful, pursue it like your life depends on it, because truly, your life depends on it. But if you're like us, and you don't know what it is you want to do, be open to everything. And as you keep doing, you will then realize the things that you're better at, the things that you enjoy more. And that's why I said, ways lead on to other ways. Ways lead on to other ways. Opportunities usher you into other opportunities. And you begin to see things that you can do. If there's any webinar, any conference, any seminar, apply. If they even say that there's a registration fee, you can say to them, oh, I'm a student at the law school, or I'm in 400 level. Can I get a waiver? Send a bold email. And somebody will say, oh, we didn't make provisions for students. Can we reduce the fee for students? Or can we give room for free participation of students? Let me tell you one more Bible story before I wrap up. And I think we studied this lesson some weeks ago. I can't remember the name now. I think it's Zelophehad in the Bible. The man has his daughters. And the Bible says that when they were sharing inheritance, they didn't give to them because they were girls. Now the girls went to, they first went to, I think, the 70 elders. They went to the elders and they eventually went to Moses. They said, our father had no son. He rebelled. So, first of all, note that they didn't allow their father's bad history to affect them. Their father rebelled and died in the wilderness. So they said, our father rebelled and died in the wilderness for his sins. But he wasn't of the cohort of Korah and Abiram. He wasn't of that category. But he also rebelled and died for his sins. Our father had no sons. But we also want an inheritance amongst our people. And when they said this, they were only girls. So they went to the elders, that their conflict was escalated to Moses, and Moses, that good man, acknowledged that he didn't know what to do. And he consulted the Lord. And the Bible says, and the Lord agreed with them and said that the daughters of Zelophehad have spoken well. Now, the bravery of those young women changed the law in Israel. So if it were today, we would say that they drove law reform. 7 girls. Nobody can advocate for you better than yourself. Nobody can make a case for you better than yourself. Nobody can market you better than yourself. It doesn't so I met a lady that she told me that she got a job instantly. Why? She met the governor of the state. He was in a public gathering and people were afraid. The man had security. That she went there, engaged with the governor, and And the governor was like, oh, you're really smart. And gave her a job. That was it. Timidity will cost you more than it will cost you more than you bargain to give it. Timidity. Oh, I'm shy. Oh, I think I may say the wrong thing. Timidity will cost you more. I'll wrap up with this last story. The last year when I was still in Babcock, we went for Law Teachers Conference in Ibadan. The dean said I and Dr. Chinaka will represent the faculty. And we went there the first day. We saw them tearing professors' presentations apart. In fact, they went as far as telling the person that the references, the sources cited, had no relevance to the work. I said, yeah, professors of law. The dean called us, then it was Professor Larry, he called us, and I think they had heard it in the faculty. People were beginning to say, you sent them, we were both assistant lecturers. You sent assistant lecturers to go to Law Teachers Conference when they are tearing professors apart. So these who called us to say, how far? Are you people ready? Are you prepared? And I saw them, and that day was Dr. Arowola. I saw her leaving. I said, ma, we've done the work, we've done the research, but I'm not sure of what I would say. She stood outside there and began to tell me, she just began to talk, so I quickly took notes. On the day of the presentation, I was so anxious, I quickly started having diarrhea. My heel, I was wearing a heel shoe. I couldn't wear it because I was shaking and the shaking was visible, so I couldn't stand steady on the heel. And I wore my flat shoe. I had to quickly change to my flat shoe. And I remember the first thing I said, I can never forget it. I said, well, research is a continuum. So one researcher cannot fill all the gaps and answer all the questions. That is why every research must deal with a gap in knowledge, so that the one coming behind will fill the gap. I was saying it so that they will know that if this presentation doesn't go very well, it's not my fault, because I can't fill all the gaps with this one research. I didn't know. I was honest enough to go and meet somebody that knew. And said, but we have done the work, but I still don't know what to do. And she told me things, and I wrote it down. And when I finished that presentation, one of the things I screamed there was, you know, in academics you say publish or perish, meaning write, do your research, publish, show your known. And one of the things I remember chanting there was, I told them that this time around we're not going to say publish or perish, we're going to say publish and prosper. And I screamed it, and everybody screamed. You know, I say publish and they say prosper. And by the time we were done with the presentation, of course I couldn't have covered everything. So I just did the small one I could do, told them stories, did this one and did that one. I remember that Professor J.T. Adams was there, Professor Jerry Gray was also there. So as soon as we were done and people were clapping, so they also contributed. And Professor J.T. said, oh, she's an assistant lecturer in Babcock, and people were shouting, oh, promote her, promote her. So nobody had the time to take my presentation apart. Sometimes, if I had just said, because they had torn apart the presentations of professors of law, who knew better than we knew, and we had allowed that to define whether we were going to take that opportunity or not, we would not have been able to showcase the faculty of law, you know, at that gathering of distinguished legal minds. Two things even when we are afraid. Till today, when my phone rings and it's from work, I have anxiety. Because remember I told you that all my life I never did anything financial, corporate, commercial. It wasn't my strength. So gradually, I left corporate, commercial with smart lawyers and went to my health course, gradually. But when the opportunity came and I had to take it up, I was asking questions. Technical guys were teaching me things that lawyers should know. When I wrote that chartered exam in Babcock here, I was in 500 level. 200 level students that knew maths were teaching me. You're not too old to learn, and you can't be too proud to learn. When you don't know, admit you don't know, and then look for an opportunity to learn and to get better. But don't ever let an opportunity pass you by because you're too afraid or because you're too ashamed of failure. The moment you allow the fear of failure keep you from taking that step, you automatically deprive yourself of the opportunity for success. There are no two ways about it. It is the man who has tried that has the prospect of either passing or failing. When I was at the law school, the deal were to write corporate commercial law. Everybody had gone to the hall. I was in the hostel crying. I struggled with the course. When I'm reading, I will pass it, but when we're in class, it will be as if I didn't understand it again. And everybody has said it's not true. Your lowest grade determines your final result. So that day I cried. My roommate was Ochuko amazing. And that's why that I wasn't getting ready. He said, I'm Ranchi, you're not ready, I'm going to the exam hall. Everybody left. The hostel was empty. I was crying. And I said, I'm not going to write this exam. That was because I was struggling with. My people, I have to go and write the exam. Actually, if I don't write it, I'll fail it automatically. By the time I went to the hall, everybody was seated. They had shared paper. But I pushed myself and I wrote that exam. And at least I made it 2-1. If you don't try, before you try, there's no chance of success. But once you put yourself in the game, you stand a chance to do amazing things. Don't ever let the fear of failure, what people will say, don't let it keep you from striking or playing the ball. It's like somebody that has a car and says that they will not drive because they're afraid of somebody scratching their car in Lagos. Then you'll be trekking and walking. You must put yourself out there. You must do that. And when you do that, you have a chance at success. Keep strategic relationships. And above all, my people, pray. You see, prayer. Pray. Pray because your life depends on it. I had brought a number of scriptures that I wanted to share with you. But you must pray. When I was looking for a job while I was still doing my PhD, remember I told you that I went to make a presentation on behalf of the church. One man was about to leave. So he had even asked for permission to speak out of tongues so that he could leave. And he had spoken and he was about to leave. Somehow, something kept him in the room. I don't know what. Thinking back, it was the power of God that kept him in that room. Because at that point, my savings were almost over and I needed money. So when I spoke, he saw me, he listened to me, he heard me. So afterwards, he came to me and said, oh, take my card and call me. And then let me see what we can do about opportunities for you. That singular encounter opened other doors and other opportunities. It is God that gives the opportunities. But then we must pray for God Himself to make those opportunities come your way. And for you to take the right opportunities that will ultimately transform your life, transform your career, and put you in a happy place. And if for any reason you're battling with depression, self-esteem, whatever it is, I'm begging you, reach out for help. I also want to say that now is not the time to be experimenting with things that are addictive. Nobody started out life thinking that they will become an addict. Everybody that I have seen is an addict started with, just try it now. Just try it. You try it once. It doesn't go too well. They tell you, oh, it was your first time. Try it again. Because we always make the arrogant assumption that nothing can make us or hold us captive. So you don't ever think that you can never be an addict. But go and see people who are struggling with addiction. It's like you're a sick person, except that you brought the sickness upon yourself. Don't ever try to experiment with addictive substances. whether it's alcohol, whether it's weed, whether it is drugs, don't you ever, don't. Addiction is hard to break, oh. It is, you give your, the life as this is hard enough. Throw in addiction, and your problems have skyrocketed. As much as is possible, anything that will make you struggle with addiction, I am begging you in God's name, avoid it. Avoid it. And don't make decisions that can truncate your future. I know that we are young and we want to experiment. And you want to, if you feel like you want to have fun and you have money, gather money with your friends. Go and visit places that you have never visited before. If you don't have money to go abroad, go to Cotonou. If you don't have money to go to just go and visit nature. Travel, go and visit. You must not be in ungodly places. That's not where you have fun in your life. I'm done already, but the last thing I'll say, for those of you who are thinking of maybe going in-house or something, now that you need the experience, first of all, identify a sector that you possibly want to work in. You know, if you say that you want to work in the hospitality sector, or in finance, or in health, whatever it is, identify the sector. Go online, go and Google like the top 20 players in that sector, and follow them on LinkedIn, send them emails, connect with their staff on LinkedIn. They don't need to advertise any vacancy. Go on their website. Many organizations have that career calling on their website. Put your CV in order. Get somebody to review. Have different CVs for different applications. Get somebody that is good that can review your CV and begin to send out. At least if you're looking for a job, in a week you should have sent out up to 10, 15 applications. Different applications tailored to meet different employers. If you don't challenge yourself and take your own life in your hands, nobody will take your life in their own hands. My prayer is that God will help us to excel, and that above all, God will help us achieve balance in our career life, our personal life, and even in our spiritual life.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Dr. Amachi. Indeed, a lot, as I said, I told you earlier that she had a lot to speak to us about, even with the short notice that we gave her. Thank you very much, Dr. Amachi. I pray that the good Lord will continue to bless you in Jesus' name. Of course, we will take questions. Don't go yet, don't go yet. We will take questions, comments, contributions. Yes, I'm sure we have questions. Comments and their questions. This is the mentorship session, and it's very important. So, are there those who want to make certain comments? Yeah, I'll come to Brother Lee, but while we are making comments and you're taking questions, I want to put Anu on the spot, because I mean you have also been working for a while. You need to also give us maybe a few minutes, share with us your experience of how you've been able to balance your career success and personal life, and where the God factor comes in. We want to also hear from you. Yes, comments.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for that presentation. It was very inspiring. So my question is really personal, because as you were speaking, you mentioned that you're in the health law sector, and that's something that I want to do. So I wanted to ask if you could please guide me in terms of, because I want to learn, you understand? I'm looking for opportunities to learn how to break into that space. So I just wanted to ask if I could receive some guidance from you.
If you want to respond, don't say your response immediately. Don't allow it to get it immediately.
Well, I mean, I can provide some insight and guidance. And I would also say that Professor Chedichi is here. Yeah.
Well, that does seem
Well, that's nonsense, so we can always have a conversation.
Thank you very much. Yes, any other person has a comment? Okay, that's Faith, right? Yes, Faith has asked a question or a comment to make.
Thank you so much for your speech. It was really nice. The question I have is, you talked about mentorship and how you could have better responsibility. And you guys about someone. However, I was able to connect with people yesterday, definitely because of the coronavirus, because I heard
research online, there's not too much of that embedded on engineering and see. So I don't think I can particular questions to ask her. It's not just somebody else, so I cannot ask her internship at the moment, but I already do that for the summer, let's say. But like, what questions am I supposed to ask her so that I can stay relevant or stay present because she has a lot of knowledge now.
Thank you for that question. Next question.
I want to go. Okay. Fine. Does Susan know you personally?
Yes.
Yeah? And you say around the away.
Yes.
So what you do when you're free, because most of the time we think we know one another, and we use the word general housing, right? Okay? And if you want to go through that line, she uses my name. Okay? But don't do that if you want to really, because, well, out there, there are a lot of people that want to pay there. Because it's a good thing, it's a real good right. But if you want to actually get the best of what see basically, try to come with it. We can actually, okay? But most of the time, don't come and tell that fine. One of the things that really works for us, what doesn't really work for us is leverage. The fact that you're about, and if you're not family members, okay, you can't really get away from it. But the fact that you're about to do that, about to do alumni, and there's different space, that there's sometimes doesn't really work with you, like, okay? They can, if she has a child, I'm sure she's starting with she's going to be with you, right? That might be what you get for the next rest of the year, because she is specific to that. But when you're around, maybe it's this. The best to get it done is find people around that. They do this one. Okay? Come to that space. Where she's there with you. And then you give your progress. So generally speaking, career-wise, anybody who is in life that you really feel, if I work with this person personally, I'm already doing what I need. Look for someone who's connected to them that then safe space most of the time. Follow that space. Another one that I want to get from you. All of a sudden, let me just teach you basically, and I'm seeing what they do. They get to see what you can offer, and get to know people to say, if you can really do this, come on board. And it's easy to actually tell them also, because I just got to my place for within the local schools, I think it's easy for us to actually get if you want.
All right. Thank you. You want to answer that?
So I told you that I met somebody a few weeks back, and somebody whose name I've been hearing for more than 8 years. Now, we exchanged contacts after I did my presentation. I haven't reached out to him yet. Because of the week, I was really research, and then I stumbled on something in the rules. And it gave me context because during my presentation, he asked the question, but we didn't quite agree with the outcome or my answer. Now, here's what I plan to do. I've read the book. I totally agree with everything he wrote in his research. I'm going to reach out to him and say, oh, sir, I was doing a research on this, and then I stumbled on your publication. You just made the publication in September. Interesting perspective. I agree with this, and I agree with this, and I agree with this. And then I'll also throw in some suggestions. Now, when I do that, he knows that this person is bringing something to the table also. That's one. That is the personal experience. Generally also, when you want somebody to mentor you, that's why I thought that somebody can be a mentor and not even realize that they are mentors. What do? Build your knowledge base in an area. It's an entertainment or it's primarily intellectual property as well as the business side of the law. So what do? Deepen your knowledge. When I started off with my interest in developing health law, every news, every information online that had to do with something in that area, I ran after it. I had my database, my own folder. Anything interesting, I'll take it and I'll put it there. It helped me stay abreast of what happens. Now, if I want to approach my mentor and ask about something, I'll say something like, again, let me give you another example. So, years back, something happened in Lagos during the COVID year. A couple had children, a child, children, 27 or 25 years. And the woman was about 70, and the man was also old. Now, in the reproductive health space, people feel like, what's the life that was in the panel was in that audience. The person who was secretary in that to the panel was in that audience. When I told that story, it made them feel like I was part of them. Like I understood the environment in which they work. So you cannot be going to a mentor like a blank, a table, a tab that is blank and empty, and then you want the mentor to feel you. No, you come to the mentor and then show the mentor that I have done stuff, I have read, I know about it. So when the person posts something online, you engage. When you actually when you're in that era, oh my, I came across this thing. I'm not sure about what the outcome should be or how I should approach this. You're coming to them with specific problems and you're saying, I need your guidance on this issue. And also, as time goes on, they get to know you personally. That is in the case of a board mentor, right? They will also then actively start sharing information with you. But even if your mentor doesn't know you, you can, whenever they post something, you're engaging with it, you're building your knowledge base, you're keeping that in your trove of knowledge, and you're building your knowledge. Gradually, that person takes notice of you. When you get used to send a formal application of applying for an internship, and you write your cover letter, why you want them to take you on as an intern, so that you can learn from them, the person will not be able to say no. Because when they read that cover letter, they will be saying to themselves that this girl is going to be a plus for me, or a plus to me. And for that reason alone, they will make room for you. So yes, how do you connect with your mentors? Build your own personal knowledge base. Do all the research, everything you can read. There are free access journals online. Read, know what the key issues are. Have like 4 or 5 journals that publish on that specific issue. Follow the news. Everything the productive health law news in Nigeria, I follow it. Any latest happening, I follow it. My contacts who know that I'm interested in that area, when they see things that they think I will be interested in, they send it to me. I actively seek out that community because people have communities. I seek out that communities of the community of maybe this professional, that professional, and then I immerse myself in that community. And of course, by doing so, you will also learn. So it's not in everything that your mentor must have a personal relationship with you. Even if they don't know you exist, but you have learned so much from your life.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amachi. We invite Anu Otunaike to just give us 1 or 2 words, sharing her own little experience with us to how she has been able to integrate the God factor into the career success she has had and then your personal life. And we would also invite Dr. Yabi, who will be presenting quickly an award to Dr. Amachi Okonkwo. Please, Dr. Yabi, please. Just quickly before Dr. Amachi steps out. Presenting this award to Dr. Amachi.
Okay, so for delivering this wonderful lecture, seminar to us at the media session of the alumni meeting, alumni who come in. I hope you can get from the message that we need to balance things. We don't need to spend ourselves and we need to leverage. More especially, she emphasized that connectivity. You need to connect. You may know all the laws, but because you are walking alone, you walk very slowly. But if you connect, somebody in Abuja will get to you, somebody in Canada, and then you will, more often than not, succeed even faster. So we need to connect. That's the take home. So we want to congratulate you. Very glad for your coming, and she's one of us. So whenever we ask you to come, please come. Yes, and find time to also reach out to us when you get information. We send it to work on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yagri, the chairperson of the BU LSS Alumni Homecoming Committee. We'll hand over to Anu now, and shortly after we conclude this session, we'll begin to prepare for our first workshop. Thank you.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Anu Udunaike. I wasn't expected to speak this evening, and I think that Amarachi has already said everything that needs to be said. So I think I will just do a short introduction on myself, what I do, and then I'll probably share some words of advice, etc. But I'll be pretty quick because I know time will run out. So I currently work at Udodoma Osage. I've been there for 6 years, so since 2019. And when I first started, right, in the law firm, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I was sure that I didn't want to do litigation, for sure, because that's not my strong suit. I never saw the point of having arguments, even though I studied to be a lawyer, right? But I knew litigation was not what I wanted to do. And I think that the law firm I started in was great because they had rotations around different practice groups. And a lot of top tier law firms would do that. They would let you rotate around the practice groups for a couple of months, some do years, right? So that you understand each practice group and then you find a practice group that works for you. And that was great for me because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I was very sure what I didn't want to do, but not what I wanted to do. So when I started in Udodoma in 2019 during NYSC, also free tip, the best way to get into law firms is through NYSC. So if you're able to secure a good placement for your NYSC 7-year, it's easier to just be retained because if you do a great job, they're not going to tell you to leave the firm. Do you see? And it's the easiest way to get into law firms because after NYSC, when you're applying to get into law firms, they're asking you for experience that you definitely don't have because you just finished from school, right? But they always want someone with 3 years, 4 years, 5 years experience, which you clearly don't have. So NYSC is a great way to get into law firms. It's the easiest way to get into law firms and stay in law firms. Most law firms will retain you except you do like a horrible job. And I don't think that anybody that studied in Babcock would go to a law firm and embarrass themselves. And I think my understanding is correct. So I rotated around several practice groups, and I noticed that I liked private equity. Now, private equity is not a very popular practice area in Nigeria. My firm is one of the few firms that does private equity and are known for it. And I was able to, I found that I also liked fund formation in particular. So setting up PE funds, registering with the SEC, advising on setting up parallel funds in different jurisdictions, etc. I realized that that was something I was good at because of the rotations. And once I was able to find something I was interested in, I focused on it because one thing that you need to also do early on is to create a niche and be known for that thing. It means that when you show that you have value, two, the firm can't afford to lose you because now you're specializing in that area. And it helps you if maybe you're just one of the few people that know that area very well. Because in my firm, it's just me and one other senior associate that does fund formations. But just and there are practices that do fund formation, but in terms of associate level knowledge, it's just 2 of us, right? So I've already created like a niche for myself, and I've also made myself valuable and useful. So in getting into, if you're going to practice in law firms, if you're going to work in any company, saying that that's the only thing you should do, because I do a bunch of things. I work across plenty practice areas, and because of the rotations, I have knowledge of several things, right? So I do real estate, I do private equity, I do merger and acquisitions, I do general corporate advisory, I've also done shipping acquisitions, and a bunch of other things, like I dabble in different things, but my niche is private equity, and specifically fund formation. So one thing is to obviously find something you're good at, read up on that thing, study it, and become known for being good at that thing. And that would help you to distinguish yourself from the rest of your setmates, because when you come in into a law firm, into a company, the other people that you come in with, right, you're on the same level. But when it comes to promotions, you're not all going to be promoted the same way, right? It depends on your the work you've done, how your appraisals are being, etc. Whatever ranking model that the firm or company uses, each person will be graded based on their own capabilities and your own abilities, not necessarily because you all came in as a set or you're in a particular year. So in terms of the topic of today of balancing work and personal life, there's not much of a balance. In terms of actual work, especially if you're working in a law firm, it's kind of crazy hours. I was up for yesterday at 2 a.m. working. So I wouldn't say there's like an actual balance, but you can always try to carve out time for yourself to actually live your life. And that's what I advise you to do. Like when I first started NYC, obviously you're trying to prove yourself so that you can be retained. So it was just work. I know my dad used to complain that I was coming home very late, and then one day I was like, I just called the partners. I'm like, please don't spoil my career for me, because like I'm really just starting. And these are the years that I have to push myself, right? Because I'm not married, I don't have kids, etc. But as time went on, especially if you've proven yourself to the people that you work with, that you're reliable, you're dependable, and that you take your job seriously, there would be some leeway, and you're able to dictate your time a little bit better, especially as you progress through the ranks, right? Because once you first come in, obviously you're doing a lot of grunt work, you're the person doing all of the first draft, and it might seem like a lot, and it might also seem like you don't have time for anything else. But what I would say is take advantage of that period, because that's the only period that you have enough time to also read and do a lot of personal development to make yourself a better lawyer in the future. The balancing part, I don't know, I remember I just spoke about this. I'll say again, I'm not very good I'm not at the balancing thing yet, but I do learn to carve out time for myself, and because I'm an Adventist, they know in the office I'm not available on Saturday. I also do, I switch to my WhatsApp, right? I put on the mobile data to my WhatsApp, so that I'm not reachable on Saturdays, because regardless of whether you've created a boundary, you're the one that has to enforce that boundary. So definitely clients will call you at any time of the day, because that's the way they are. You're providing a service and they want answers anytime they want answers. But I've already created a boundary at work. They know that you can send Anu the work and she'll get back to you after Sabbath hours, even if she's not able to do that during Sabbath hours. And I don't leave anything on my desk like on Friday, because I want to clear out everything. So you're not chasing me. If there's a work that hasn't gone out to the client, it's your fault, because I've definitely done my part. It's because of you that the work didn't go out. It's not because of me that the work didn't go out. So I think once you're able to prove that you're a reliable person, you're dependable, and you're hardworking, then you're able to show to the people that you work with and your superiors that you're there for the long haul, and they will appreciate that. Because they know that if they call on you to do something, and you're saying, well, I'm not able to do this thing, it's not because you don't want to do the work. It's that there are other circumstances that require your own time, and they're able to give you that understanding and say, yes, I know that Anu is not, she's not like a lazy person. She said she's in church, so obviously like I'm going to reach out to her after. So the balancing will come with time. It's really learning how to carve out your own special time. When I'm in church, I'm not answering phone calls, I'm not checking my emails. People know that Saturday is Saturday for Alumni. You can reach out to her like in the evening. They drop a message and they say like get back to me when you can. So creating boundaries is important, and I know that starting off is not easy because I do remember one time when I was in my NYC year, I was in church and I was working. Right, I was like literally responding to emails. A client was calling me. The partner was calling me as well. But I literally told the partner like right after that, what just happened today cannot continue to happen because I have like commitments also in church, and I already explained when I was going through the interview process like the kind of person that I am. And because they realize that it's not I'm saying that I need to go to church, I'm using that to create excuses not to do work, is that this is my faith, this is what I believe in. And I've never given you any reason to doubt my capabilities in terms of work. Then they were able to give me that allowance. And with time, it just became a known thing that you don't reach out to and move on to after Sabbath hours, right? So I think that's where the God factor comes in. When you're able to, you're not using going to church or your faith as excuses to not do work. You're telling them that this is my stand, this is what I believe in, right? I do great work, but I also need to have space to do other things other than work. Because the thing is that work will always be work. Like you lose someone today, they assign the task to the next person. So you don't get to lose yourself, your faith, your friends, your family because of work. And except you're working in a toxic place, which I'm sorry to anyone that works in a toxic place, but except you're working in a toxic place, when you speak to people and you explain things to them that these are my boundaries, I do great work, or I do good enough work for you to understand that I'm not saying these things because I'm creating excuses, but I'm telling you that this is my faith, these are my boundaries, and I really like them to be respected. They will definitely listen to you. They won't, except they are toxic, wicked people, they will listen to you and they will give you the opportunity. So I think that that's my own experience in terms of balancing work and faith. There's no balance. I'm still trying to get there, even after 6 years working. But day by day, each day, right? We all learn and we make choices that help that balance be possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate you. Just for a few minutes, you have spoken for close to 30 minutes. So thank you for also sharing. Thank you for also sharing your experience with us. We are grateful to you. Toby still needs to see you, so when she's around, I'll bring her to you. Thank you very much. Do we have questions, comments? Because after I'll be handing over to the choir, and they will take us through music and songs as we wrap up our alumni program and Sabbath festival. No questions, no comments. Thank you very much, everyone. Choir, please, over to you for our concert this evening.